out. Perfect. Glad we got that recorded. So as we close out, heading into our Legacy Life event. So for those of you guys who don't know, or maybe you're brand new and you're just coming into things, or coming into our team or into the Alliance, what's really cool about the Alliance system is they have 4 big major events per year. Okay, so they've got National Convention, and that's going to be in January. They have Stage to Success, which we just came out of. That's in April. They've got Family Reunion, which is in July. And they've got some type of a boot camp that's in October. So they do a quarterly event every 3 months, which you can plug into. There's about 1,000 people that go. They're awesome. You know what I mean? You get to meet the corporate staff. You get to meet all the carrier reps. And there's a lot of other very successful agents that go, and they do training and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so the live events are where it's at. Now, we also, Legacy Life as a group, so our agency within the company, we do 2 major events per year. Okay, so we started doing this. We are we've been one of the fastest growing teams in the Alliance, and we are starting to do a lot of things virtually and in a different way. That not necessarily doesn't apply to the Alliance, but just like we're specifically, I would say maybe 70 to 80% of our team is now virtually. A lot of us started in person, but have gone to virtual. So we've wanted to create something where, we can train our team more on, we're still plugging into the major events, but we can train our own team on the specific things that we're doing. And so, 2 things. So the beginning of May, we have our big event in Vegas. We're going to do a fall event. We don't have the details on that yet, but our main event is going to be in Vegas. Our next big event is going to be in 2 weeks. Okay. It's going to be at the Planet Hollywood Hotel. I think it's the first weekend in May. So most people are flying in to Las Vegas Friday the 2nd. The actual training is from 9 to 5. And then they're leaving Sunday. And so we have an all-day event planned. I know I'm going to be speaking there. Nick's going to be speaking. We'll have some other people that are surprise speakers that don't know they're speaking yet. We're going to get them up there to do some training. And then Nick, Hutch, David Helgeson, who's killing it with the virtual leads, is doing it. Aaron Wilson. So we've got some great people that are going to be speaking about that. And then also we do our team, and I'm going to get into the Vegas event here more in a second, but we also do these calls every Monday night. So Mondays at noon Eastern, we do if let's say you're wanting to learn more about virtual and tactics on that, we'll do from 12 Eastern, and it's always about 30 to 40 minutes. We'll do a Monday during the day call, and that's on virtual sales. Then Monday night, we kick off, we'll do a series. So I did one on nuts and bolts of leads, things of like, scheduling, structure. This week we are starting a different one on annuities. So, and I'm going to get into that here in a second, but let me jump back to the Vegas event. So before I talk about Nick and what he's getting ready to talk about, that's going to be awesome. So for those of you guys who don't know, first of all, it's in Las Vegas. It's at Planet Hollywood. Let me just explain, for those of you guys who are coming and you're like, hey, do we have anything planned? Aaron's going to send out a big text in the thing, but some of the stuff, if you're like, hey, when do I book my flights? We're doing a pool day Friday at Planet Hollywood. Okay. We've got dinner it's either going to be at 5 or 5:30 at Cabo Wabo. Okay. Which is a Mexican restaurant. By the way, this is Cinco de Mayo weekend in Las Vegas. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Okay. And then so if you fly in Friday, you get there during the day, we're doing a pool party during the day. We're all gonna be hanging out. And then we're gonna do the Michael Jackson show at 7 p.m. that night. And then after that, we're gonna go to the Chandelier Bar in the Cosmopolitan. So we've got stuff planned for Friday. It's going to be awesome. We're going to go see a Michael. If you've never seen a Vegas show, they're legit, especially if you like Michael Jackson. There's going to be some sick dancing in that. Saturday is the main deal. That is not, so if you can't, let's say you're like, oh, my flight gets in late Friday, that's fine. The main event is Saturday from 9 to 5. So we're going to do the training from 9 to 5. Right after that, we're going to hang, you'll be able to decompress, all that kind of stuff for a couple hours. Then we're going to have dinner at 8 p.m. at Guy Fieri's, which is right down there. And we're going to go to the Paris Hotel after for casino, a cabaret show, bar, stuff like that. And then Sunday's a pool day, and then you leave. So we've got a bunch of cool stuff planned for the Vegas event, and the content is going to be ridiculous. So bringing it back to our weekly night, our weekly calls. So we decided to, rather than just get somebody random on each week, we have a lot of people that are really, really good at specific things. And Nick, obviously our fearless leader, my personal sponsor in the business, he's one of the best in the company at doing virtual, or well, definitely virtual, but at doing annuities. I believe he was definitely top 10. I'm not sure if he was top 5 last year, but he did between 2 to 3 million in annuities last year. Okay. And so I know he's already in the top 10 this year. He's working on deals that are 600, 800,000, $1 million. And when you're brand new and you're just trying, the first thing you're trying to do is learn the business. Because I learned from Robert Kiyosaki. He said, when you're young, you work to learn and then you'll earn. Most people, they want to earn and then learn. They want to like just make money and not learn anything, and then just, in this, you've got to learn the skills and then you'll make the money. You know what I mean? And the cool thing is you can do it at the same time. So a lot of us started with final expense and mortgage protection, and we're selling term policies, we're selling final expense. Oh my God, you've got AFib, you've got to go Royal Neighbors or Corbridge. And it's just like annuities are not like that. There's income annuities. Nick's going to get into all that kind of stuff. But this is where your commissions can go from 500, 600 a pop to 5,000, 6,000, up to 60,000 per sale. Okay. I know there's specific cases of people on our team who sold one annuity and made $40,000. Okay. And it's for people that are looking to get into more of the retirement aspect. But here's the cool thing, especially if you're working ethos leads or final expense leads, you are talking to people that are about to retire. They just retired. The market's not been doing really well right now. And a lot of us, like, we just want to know the right things to say. First of all, we need to learn the basics. You need to learn, like, okay, is what they have their money in good? Okay, they're 70 years old. Why is 70% of their money in the market? That's not good. You know, as you guys know, when you're young, you should have more in the market. A higher percentage when you're older, you should not, because of situations like this year, the market's in the tank. So people don't know where to start there. So I'm super excited. Nick, he's a top 5 annuity producer in the company. And a lot of he just like knows his stuff. He's a part of all kinds of different Facebook groups. He knows the products. He knows the income products, the fixed annuity products, the fixed index annuities. And he'll even, if you're really, really like, and again, Nick is super, super busy, so chat with him personally. But if you run into a situation where someone's got 100, 200, 300, 500,000, $1 million, and you just don't know what to do, he will do annuity splits with you if you are in legacy life. And rather than you making no money and just letting that client that has, like, there's been certain situations with people on our team where they'll find the money, and we kind of use him as the BAM, like like a financial advisor, to speak to the client. And so he not only is going to teach you about it, he can actually himself help you talk to your clients and help make you money, where you're getting you're getting the majority of the percentage, but he is helping you close the business. So, and for each, depending on the case, each percentage is different. Sometimes it's 30%, 50-50, 20%, whatever. You just have to talk to him. Every situation is different because of how whatever it is. But so I'm super excited. So I believe Aaron did Nick pre-record this earlier today.
Yeah.
Okay. So just before we bring this on, so I don't know if there's going to be 3 calls or 4 calls to this series. We're going to do one on the basics of it, and then we're going to dive into a bunch of the nuts and bolts of it. But you guys take some notes on this. There's a lot of you guys who've been selling insurance for a year, 2 years, 3 years, and you haven't really started having these conversations with people. And you are running into, I heard, I forget what agent it was. It was either Bell Kraus. Even people that are just selling final expense, 1 out of every 12 homes that you're in statistically have over 100,000 somewhere. and they're broke. Like you just don't like you don't ask, so you have no idea. They could be living in a trailer in a shitty ass home, and excuse my language, they have a crappy home. They have a crappy, and so you just assume that they don't have money stashed away or that they never inherited, and you're not asking the right questions to be able to help that client. And it's not like we're trying to just move the money to make a huge, yes, obviously that's what we get paid to do, but it's to always do what's in the best interest of the client. And so there's a lot of situations where, just like life insurance, you running into people and they have terrible policies. They've got Globe, they've got ARP, they've got Lincoln Heritage, they've got Lumico, they've got Primerica, they've got, there's 7 to 10 life insurance companies that are really terrible. They have them, and you're like, oh my God, we need to. There's same thing with someone that's got a 401k at 68 and 90% of it's invested in risky stocks and no one's managing. They have no, and whatever, you know what I mean? It looks the same with that way. So I'm excited for you guys to tune into this. We can't wait to see y'all in Vegas. And Aaron, play the recording.
Up Legacy Life, Nick Greco here. Excited to be with you guys. It's the Monday night team call, and I'm gonna go through some stuff over the next couple of weeks for you guys. A lot of you guys have been asking for some training around this, and sorry, my office is a mess. We just moved. So I'm still putting that all together. But some of you guys are just like asking for some training around annuities, wanting to learn more about annuities. How do these things called annuities work? You see people, making all kinds of money selling annuities, which is great. But I know that there's a bunch of you guys that you just want to learn how they work. What are the best practices out there as far as annuity goes? What are the best companies to write these products with, and all that kind of stuff? So, today is really going to be a little bit of a foundation for a lot of you guys. And then, as the weeks go by, we'll go through more and more different stuff. We'll get into the weeds, I promise. And we'll get into a bunch of details of like, how do I go about picking a company? What am I actually looking at when I'm talking with somebody, potential client? Like, how am I deciding like what company's the best and what's the actual best solution for somebody, and things like that. And so I'm excited to go through this with you guys. And as we do go through this, here's what I want you to know. Just the same thing is true with life insurance. The same thing is true with really, quite frankly, any aspect of this business that you're going through. At the very beginning, okay, no matter what, at the very beginning, anything that you go do out there, you are going to be unconsciously incompetent. What does that mean? That means that you're unconscious that you suck. Okay, you don't know that you suck. You're unconsciously incompetent. And the same thing is true when it comes to annuities, goes to life insurance, this business as a whole, building a team, recruiting. I mean, riding a bike, like anything you're going to go do. Oh, I'm going to go start playing tennis, and it's like, oh, it doesn't look that hard. You watch these people do it on TV, or here's a better one. How about golf? Okay, like, hey, I'm going to go play golf. Doesn't look that hard. You just hit the little ball around. It's not that difficult. And you're unconsciously incompetent. Okay, you don't know that you suck at golf. Okay, but then you get out there to the golf course, and then you reach stage number 2. Okay, and by the way, there's 4 stages of this. Your number 1 is unconsciously incompetent. You don't know that you suck. You get out there to the golf course. You're like, hey, let me go play around a golf. This looks fun. And that's usually when you become consciously incompetent. All right, and that's when you realize you're now conscious of the fact that you suck at golf. Okay, or you don't know what's going on as far as life insurance, or you don't know what's going on as far as annuities, or whatever the case might be. Okay, and you go from you don't know that you're not good, unconsciously incompetent, to consciously incompetent. And the biggest gap in life, okay, the biggest gap, in this business is getting from consciously incompetent, where you find out that you're not so good at this business. You find out that you're not so good at retirement solutions for people. You find out that, you lose a bunch of business, okay, or whatever the case is. And I promise you, this has happened to me. I'm still going through this in a lot of different ways. But you find out that you're consciously incompetent, going from consciously incompetent to consciously competent. That means that you know that you can do it. You might have to think about it, Okay, but you can follow a system. You can go through some steps. You can do that, and that's really the goal of this training. This training series, and for those of you guys, I'm going to be that are coming. Like, I'm going to be talking about this in Las Vegas. I'm going to be talking about annuities. The goal of that event is to get you from consciously incompetent to consciously competent. And if you're already consciously competent, like that you could do it, you're making money, things are happening for you in this business, but not going to the level that you want to be at, then we're also going to be talking about going from consciously competent, where you know that you could do it, to unconsciously competent, where you don't necessarily have to think about it, but you can do it. And, full disclosure, guys, I would consider myself, okay, when it comes to this world of annuities and finance and helping people with their retirement, I would consider myself consciously competent. Okay. I've been doing this for, I guess, 4 years now. Actually 4 years ago this month is when I wrote my first annuity. And, there's a lot to learn. It's its own world. Okay. Annuities, to life insurance. So my suggestion for most of you is get good at the life insurance. Okay. Get good at the life insurance. And then, hey, if you want to end up focusing on annuities, like, let's focus on annuities if that's what you want to do, and I'll help you and all that stuff. And just because, with the caveat, like, hey, get good at life insurance, and then, hey, let's go study annuities, but for right now, study life insurance, with the caveat being, as you're getting good at life insurance, you ought to open the door to as many annuities as you can. Okay. Because how are you going to learn? Like, yeah, this is going to be good. I'm going to go through some good stuff here over the next couple of weeks. I'm going to go through some really good stuff, in Vegas, in person, at our Legacy Life event. But, the number one way that you're going to learn about annuities is by writing annuities, is by doing annuities, by helping clients with annuities. And so that's really where you're going to learn. So while you're learning the life insurance business, here's some practical things that you can do to start finding more annuity business. Okay. And that's what I'm going to talk about. First thing I'm going to talk about, is finding more annuity business, and how to effectively pass the baton to somebody who really has known and studied the annuity business, and the retirement side of things and all that kind of stuff. You can just pass the baton. It doesn't have to be on you. And so, like, to know everything, to be the annuity expert and the life insurance expert. Do you want to get there at some point? Sure, maybe. But it's not all going to be on you. And so what are some things that you can do, or how do I go about finding annuities with leads that are not annuity leads? Okay. And I'll tell you, when I was going and talking to people in person, direct mail in person, it would just kind of naturally come up every now and again where, or let me rephrase that. It wouldn't naturally come up. They weren't bringing up annuities to me, but it would come up that they've done well in retirement. Or I would ask them, like, hey, how is your retirement going? Okay. And here's how easy this is, you guys. As you're talking to people in person, over the phone, virtual, whatever, just ask them, like, hey, how is retirement going? How's it been? Just as an example, I just got off the phone with an Ethos lead. His name is Al. Okay. Al works for the fire department, and 62, just recently retired, wants to set up life insurance. This is an Ethos lead. Okay. And I just figured in my head, like, hey, retired fire service. He's got some sort of retirement, just recently retired. Hey, Al, by the way, so I get all of his information on the life insurance stuff. Like, hey, what are you trying to get? Why do you want to get this? What has you shopping for life insurance? He tells me all this stuff. I get all his health information. And at the end of that conversation, I just say, oh, by the way, I know you said you were retired fire here in the same county as me. What do they have set up for you guys as far as retirement? How hard is that? What do they have set up for you guys as far as retirement? Another question, and that's what I asked him, and he just filled his guts, started telling me, oh, we got this pension, we got this, oh, we didn't have a 401k here, and it turns out, hey, I'm not really gonna be able to do anything with Al as far as annuities, retirement, like maybe his wife, I might bring that up, kind of throw that out there. But here's what I want you guys to realize is, as you're having conversations that you are already having, you have nothing to lose by adding an additional question. Hey, by the way, what do they have set up for you guys? I know you mentioned you're retired. What do they have set up for you guys as far as retirement? How hard is that? And I have people all the time like, oh, how do I find the money? Do I got to do a green sheet in every appointment? And listen, I think the green sheet is fantastic. If you want to do a green sheet, do a green sheet. Okay. Personally, Personally, okay, I'm telling you what I'm doing. If you like the green sheet, do the green sheet. I don't do the green sheet. As I'm having life insurance conversations that I'm already as I'm having those conversations, I just open the door. I had a guy, this is like 2, 3 weeks ago, who it was a life insurance lead, and the guy has $5 million in retirement account. Okay, $5 million in retirement accounts. This is a life lead. Okay, and some of you guys get so stuck on the life insurance, and with that guy, it's like, what I'm saying is, you don't that with that guy, the lifestyle wasn't happening. He basically told me like, hey, I've got these health things going on, I'm just trying to shop it around and see what I can get. I don't know if I'm really going to be able to get everything. I'm like, hey, let's just look, like, tell me, I've been doing this for a while, so let me know and I'll be able to give you a good idea. Well, it turns out the guy's not going to be able to get life insurance. Some of you guys, that's the conversation you have, and then you shut it, you end it right then and there. And oh, well, there's no life sale to be made, so screw you, Bob, I'm out of here. Don't waste any more time, got to make more dials. And hey, there is some good in that idea. There's some good in that. But really, why not ask one more question before you get off the phone? Like, hey, by the way, hey, if the life insurance isn't that much of a fit for you, what else do you have set up that's going to help offset some things if something does happen? That might help offset some stuff for your wife if something does happen. He's like, well, we've got these retirement accounts. Like, all right, yeah, what do you guys have set up in those? Just tells me. Okay, and it turns out, he's got 2.5 million, his wife has 2.5 million. So like, hey, at least I opened the door. Here's what I'm saying is, focus on life, and while you're focused on life, get good at opening the door to see if there's openings. And all you have to do is like, hey, how has retirement been for you? And some of you guys say, oh, well, the ethos leads, there's not that many older folks. Yeah, you're right. Okay, but let me just tell you guys, like, and I'm not exaggerating here, I made 17 dials on ethos leads. Okay, 17. Okay, and out of that 17, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 answered. Okay, 9 answered. Okay. So like some of you go like, whoa, what are you guys doing? Why do you like ethos leads so much? I like ethos leads because I could make 17 dials, like legit. I hit the green button 17 times and 9 people answered. Okay, and I've got like 5 appointments set up from that. And maybe that's not everybody's experience. But when you have those conversations with these people, if they're a little bit older, so let me just tell you, so that guy, Al, 62 years old. The other one's not really that much a fit. I did talk to a 78-year-old and a 61-year-old who hung up on me, and a 58-year-old. So those ones are the ones where it's just in the back of my head, like, hey, they're a little bit older. If they're retired, like, I might just like, hey, if the life insurance isn't a fit and we get into conversations or maybe the life insurance is a fit, I'm just going to ask them some questions about the retirement. How is your retirement going? What do they have set up for you as far as retirement? Hey, are you guys still working? Are you guys already retired? Oh yeah, we're still working. Hey, what's your guys' plan? Have you guys ever calculated what your income is going to be in retirement? Have you ever looked at that? And the answer to that question is great, because usually they haven't calculated what their income is going to be in retirement. Like, they have no idea. Okay. And so, why not ask them that question? It's an easy, like, you might as well ask the question, especially on some of these, leads, especially the leads that we're working virtually, because you have nothing to lose. Okay. So how do we find annuity money? By asking questions. Okay. It's just, hey, we just got to ask the right questions. How's retirement going? What do they have set up for you? Have you ever calculated what your income is going to be in retirement? Or I'll even ask some more stuff, just because I'm a little bit further down the road, than I was a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. I'll just say, hey, like, so do those guys have you, if they work for like the federal government, I'll be like, hey, so do they have you guys set up in a TSP? Because that's the federal government retirement plan. Like, hey, you guys have TSPs? Oh yeah, no, we rolled out of those. And like, I'm just opening up the door to see see if there's something there. Now, if you open the door and there is something there, here's what I need you guys to know and to realize. Our goal is to teach you to be a really good life insurance agent. And then if you want to be a really good annuity agent, that's what we want for you. That's what we want, for you and your business, if that's what you want. But when you're new, you don't need to be the expert for every person that you talk to. Okay. And sometimes it's a little difficult to be the life insurance expert. and the annuity expert. Oh, and I'm the IUL expert too, and everything else. Okay. So I wouldn't try to pretend that you're the expert on everything. What I would do is take care of the life. And while you're doing the life, see if there's a door open for annuities. And if there's a door open for annuities, then all you say is, hey, Al, I don't know if this would be a fit, and I really don't know if you're looking or not, but we have some people that we're teamed up with that these guys are retirement experts. Okay, they are good. They are retirement experts, and they are helping a ton of people right now maximize their retirement. Is that something you'd be open to having a conversation with them about? That's it. Okay, we're working with some people. They're retirement experts, and they're helping a lot of people right now, especially with all the volatility in the market. We're just helping a lot of people right now maximize and secure their retirement. Is that something you'd be open to having a conversation about? And here's the thing, guys. A lot of times these folks are going to be like, oh no, I got a guy, his name is Johnny, and Johnny's incredible. Okay, well, if Johnny's incredible, then great. Like we're probably not going to win business from Johnny if Johnny's incredible. But a lot of times what it ends up being is they have somebody and they just don't, like, they're like, oh yeah, we've got it at Fidelity, and I just got it over there because blah, 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 blah. That's where my job had it or whatever. So, just here's the point is don't be afraid to ask the question. All right. Excuse me. But, don't be afraid to ask the question. Like, how do you go from unconsciously incompetent to consciously incompetent? You just try. Okay. And then how do you go from, consciously incompetent where you find out that you're not you're not so good at doing this or that or whatever to consciously competent is you get some cases under your belt. You want to know what builds confidence really more than anything is getting some wins under your belt, or at least getting some shots under your belt. Okay. And so that's where you need to focus right now is just seeing if the door is open. Keep focused on life insurance, but see if the door is open and see if they're open to having a conversation with a retirement expert. Now, I could be the retirement expert. If you guys want to schedule something with me, great. I've done that with a bunch of you guys on here. Chris Norris, Michael Weinberg, like there is a lot of resources. If you're like, hey, if you don't like me, or just like, hey, I am busy, if scheduling doesn't work or whatever, then hey, you can set something up with Integrity Advisory Solutions. I had a client today. Okay, this is a guy that I'm working on helping with an annuity. He's still doing what he's doing. Okay. But he wants to move his retirement funds from the place that has them to somewhere else. And all I did was schedule a meeting with Chris Norris. Okay, because I don't do the money management stuff. I just schedule a meeting with Chris Norris, and Chris does it. It's very, very easy to do. So that's what you need to focus on right now. Okay. Don't lose sight of the life business. Life is it's a better place to start. It's an easier place to start. It's less feast or famine. You can go sell a policy for $80 a month and make some money. Whereas annuities is maybe a little bit more involved and a little bit more. I don't abandon life insurance in lieu of annuities. Okay, like add annuities to what you're already doing, and just when you talk to people, ask them about their retirement after you've sold them a policy, and you call them to make sure that they got their paperwork. Hey, Susie, by the way, how is retirement going? How is your retirement going? Like, do they have you set up on, is it just Social Security? Do you have a pension? Do you have some 401ks? Like, how is your retirement going? That's just an easy question, and just ask it. What do you have to lose? Like, they already bought life insurance from you. Because if they say, oh yeah, I do have a 401k and this and that, it's like, oh, cool. Hey, with the market going down lately, has that been worrying you at all? Or are you guys, just so well set that, if the market goes up, market goes down, doesn't really bother you guys at all? Just say something. Say something. You really have nothing to lose. And if they're like, oh gosh, Fred has been, worried, he's watching the TV, he's getting worried every time there's a downturn, then you might have something. Well, hey, I don't know if this is a fit for you guys or not. And, most of the time when we talk to people, hey, like 70% of the time, maybe it's not a fit, but like what these guys are doing, 30% of the time, it's just a home run. And, we have some people that are retirement experts that they're helping a lot of people right now maximize their retirement. Is that something you guys would be open to, having a conversation about with them? What are they going to say? No? They say, no, say, cool, no worries. Figured if we could help, we try to help. And, hey, you got your life insurance paperwork, blah, 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 blah. They just forget, you just forget about it and move on. You know what I mean? But when it comes to like, if you ask these questions, you are going to get people that are like, man, I got 500,000 and I don't know what to do with it. Trump's doing all this stuff with tariffs or blah, 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 like that. You are going to have people that are open and willing and want to have a conversation, and they hate their guy. Okay. Like they're Johnny, they hate him. Okay. Some of them love Johnny. Some of them hate Johnny, so you need to ask the question. Okay. And, that is the main thing. Focus on life insurance, but you got to ask those questions on annuities. So as far as, what is an annuity? Okay. And we're going to go through, I'm telling you guys, as we go through the weeks here, and for those of you guys that come to Vegas, I'm going to show you screenshots. I'm going to show you, so I'll go through a couple different client cases and things like that. And I'll show you, I'm going to show you guys lots of stuff. It isn't going to be, it's not going to be fluff in Vegas as far as what we go over with the annuities. And we'll do a lot of this stuff in this series as well. But you got to get to find them. Okay. How do you get from consciously incompetent to consciously competent? You gotta get some deals under your belt. Number one. And then number two, for those of you guys that are on here and you're just focused on life, like, hey, stay focused on life. Just see if you can open the door to some annuities. And ultimately at the end of the day, for those of you guys that are newer, or you just have never really thought about these things, what is an annuity? An annuity is it simply put, it's a contract with an insurance company. Okay. It's a contract with an insurance company. And, Gina Hawks will say it's kind of like a savings account with an insurance company. And just to give you the quick rundown, it's where somebody can move their money either from their 401k, or maybe it's cash, or maybe it's in a TSP, which is like a 401k for the government, or, hey, they can cash out their pension, and instead of taking their pension payments, maybe it makes more sense to get those payments from a private insurance company. Basically, somebody has a lump sum of money, okay? 100,000, 50,000, 500,000, 1.5 million. The numbers don't really matter. What it is where somebody can move that money if that money makes good sense for them to move into an annuity product. And what do they get? Okay. So one thing that they're going to get is going to be safety. Okay. Inside of any of the annuities that you and me can sell, okay, they are not going to lose money due to market volatility. Meaning the market goes down, the S&P 500 tanks, your client is no longer losing money when the S&P 500 goes down. They are capped. They are capped at zero. They have a floor where they can't lose money. So they're going to get safety. And then here's what I want you guys to start thinking about as we go through this. If you have clients, if you have, whatever, friends, family members, coworkers, and as we get to Vegas, our Vegas event coming up, is what an annuity can do is, number one, it can do safety. Anything that we do is going to have safety. The other thing that an annuity can do is either growth or income. Growth or income. So we're either going to have safe growth, or we're going to have safe income. Okay? Safe growth, safe income. Now, those three things is what an annuity can do. Growth, safety, income. Everybody wants all three. All of your clients want all three. You probably want all three with your investments. You can't get all three inside of an annuity product. In fact, I would argue that you can't get all three really inside of any vehicle. Okay. Because think about like with stocks, like, hey, maybe you could take income off of invested funds. Wouldn't recommend it, but you can do it, and you can get growth, but you're not going to get safety if you're in the stock market. It can go down. You can lose money. You can get, with an annuity product, here's what I tell my clients is you could pick two. You can get two of the three. All right. And if you want to try to get, and anything we might talk about is going to automatically have safety involved. So really, what am I saying? You can have growth, and we can protect the money and grow the money, or we can protect the money and turn it into income. Okay. And annuities kick butt at both of those things. But the framework that you want is you want to think about this in a way where, you're not going to get growth and income. And when you're talking to people, you would be better off. Somebody's got $1 million and they say, hey, I want growth and I want income. They would be better off getting a product that does growth and does growth really well with half of the money, and then getting a product that does income and does income really well with the other half of the money. Okay, that's just the truth. Rather than trying to find one product that does everything, you're going to end up with a product that tries to do growth, safety, and income. It's just going to do nothing. Okay, that's my opinion, and we're going to go through some case studies. You know what I mean? Like, we'll go through some stuff. I'll show you guys. I have a client that I'm working with right now that I guess he's not a client yet, probably will be, but somebody sold him a product that was going to do growth, safety, and income. Okay, and he bought this annuity back at the end of 2021, so coming up on 4 years ago, and it's done none of those. It's done none. Okay, and it's with a company that a lot of us know, and a lot of us, we work with this company. It's one of our carriers, but that particular product, it didn't do growth. It didn't do safety, it didn't do growth. It did the safety. It did accomplish safety. He didn't lose money due to market volatility. And then, it did income, but it did income 75% of what you could get. Okay, today, even more back 4 years ago. And it did growth at even worse. Okay, so we're going to go through some of these case studies, but as you're talking with people, just, and if you end up asking them more questions as you're having these conversations with them, it's like hey, what's your goal with that money? Right? Is it safety? Is it income, or is it growth? Right? And here's the thing too, is like, I have people that don't have kids. They're getting into the retirement years, or they're already retired, and their only goal that they tell me is growth. And that's okay. But what are we growing it for? Okay. And I'm going to leave you guys with this. And again, we're going to get more detailed as the weeks go on here, but what are we growing it for? If you don't have kids, you don't care, you just want to, you and your wife, you just want to leave it to each other. Like, okay, you want to leave it for each other, but she's got her retirement accounts. You have your retirement accounts. What are we growing it for? You're either gonna spend it, or you're gonna give it away. That's the end goal for money. You're either gonna spend it, or you're gonna give it away. So like, hey, we could grow it. Maybe it makes sense to grow it now to get income later. But I have one client who is a client that pretty much how I made that sale was telling him, like, hey, what are we growing this for? Like, you guys don't have kids. Kim's got her retirement accounts. Everything's kind of cool there. You've got your retirement accounts. Like, what are we growing this for? Because at the end of the day, like, we can't take it with us. If your $1 million goes from $1 million to 3 million, and then you die, like, you don't get to bring it with you. Hey, Kim gets to use it, and then guess what? She's either going to spend it or give it away. And there are people out there where their primary goal is to give it away. They want to give as much to their kids as humanly possible. And I think that's great. It's a worthy goal. But sometimes people don't think about these things of like, oh, well, I just want to grow it as much as possible. But what for? Because we're either going to spend it or we're going to give it away. You know what I mean? So a lot of times it makes sense for somebody in that kind of situation, no kids. They've done good enough where they can retire. Like, it kind of makes sense. Let's turn this thing into income and let's just maximize it. That way you can enjoy your retirement as much as possible. But as you're having these conversations with people, and as you're working your way through the, unconsciously incompetent, consciously incompetent, to get to consciously competent, as you're working your way through that, start to just think about how could you ask questions to people to open the door. If you want to start asking more questions, you can start asking questions about, hey, what is your goal with that money? Is it growth? Is it income? Sorry for the interruption there. It won't look like an interruption, but I just took a client call. So as you're talking to people, as you're having these conversations, just start asking questions and just know, like, for an annuity to be a fit, okay, it's either going to go down the income scenario where, okay, hey, and we'll talk about this in here, but like the safe withdrawal rate is around 4%. That just means like if someone has $1 million in a retirement account, they could safely withdraw maybe $40,000 a year. Some may say 5%, $50,000 a year. Can we get more than that? And can we get it guaranteed with an annuity? That's where an income situation is really going to make a whole lot of sense. The other track that you might take somebody down would be a growth scenario. And again, safety is included in everything that we can do. So, we might be able to do a growth scenario, and I'm going to take you guys, I'm going to walk you guys through, like, okay, if it's a growth scenario, here's the companies I like. Here's why I like these ones for growth. If it's an income scenario, that one's a little bit different because it's like, hey, I'm just going to go with whoever has the like an A rated, or it's basically like an A or a B plus plus rated company that has the highest, the highest income. But I'll kind of walk you guys through some of this stuff. Just know that, hey, you can ask some questions like, hey, what is your goal with that money? What do you want that money to be able to do for you, in retirement? Oh, well, I was going to live on some of it. Like, okay, is it something like where you want to turn it into like your own personal pension where you're getting payments every month? Or is that something where you wanted to, just kind of take money out here and then when you go on vacation? You know what I mean? Because that's different. That's totally different. Those are some of the questions that you guys can start to ask. So I'm excited to go through a lot of this stuff with you guys. I'm excited to talk about this in Vegas at our event on May 3rd. For those of you guys that are wanting to know where to get tickets for that, you go to legacylife.co. You click on the agent portal, and in the agent portal is a button that says events. So you can just click on that thing that says events, and that's where you can go get your ticket for that. I'm going to be talking about annuities quite a bit at that event. David Helgeson is going to be talking about virtual. He's the number one agent in our group right now, all selling virtual, all ethos leads. He's going to be talking about that. Mike Guerra's going to be talking about, building a team and getting new people started. Dan Hoyt's going to be talking. We've got Aaron Wilson talking. Like, it is going to be a very actionable type of event where when you leave there on Sunday or you leave there on Monday, you can implement some of what you learned to go make more money that Monday, that Tuesday coming out of the event. So that's going to be awesome. So get your tickets for that. And then this annuity series is going to be really, really good for you guys. So, appreciate you guys for being on here. And, we're going to keep these going. We're going to do 4 or 5 weeks of just straight up annuities, so make sure you tune in, next week, same time, same code, all that good stuff. So hope you guys have a great night. God bless. And we'll be chatting with you guys soon. Reach out if we can help.
All right, that's it, everybody. Like I said, go get your tickets for Vegas. Anybody have any questions, feel free to send them in the chat and tag Nick. He'd be happy to answer them or message him directly. But we will have a second call for this series next Monday. Everybody have a great night.